The night sky died in the middle of the speech. A soft whine, a hiccup in the projector, and the dome went blank blue. The astronaut on stage froze. Donors started talking louder to hide their worry, and phones lit up like a second galaxy. In the aisle, a man in navy coveralls set down his mop and listened to the room tilt. He had been clearing a spill by the exit. Now he moved toward the stage, slow enough not to spook anyone, fast enough to matter. Security watched him but didn't stop him. Everyone else was busy explaining the failure to each other. A week earlier, the museum director had toured the dome with board members. She wore a smile that cut. "We'll retire the old star machine," she said, glancing at the squat, many-eyed device sleeping beside the stage. "It's a display piece." He was dusting the base. "It isn't," he said, mostly to the floor. "Balance the gears, cool the lamp, it'll run." "Will it?" she said, amused. "Get it to purr, and I'll let you name the lobby fern." Laughter. Then they were gone. Nobody asked his name. He returned at midnight with a thermos and a small toolbox. The dome was quiet in the way empty rooms inhale. He knelt and opened the machine's side. Warm air brushed his face. He found a cracked gear tooth. He traced a flicker to a bad solder joint. On the third night, a surge from the cafe downstairs kicked up the line and blew his work into smoke. He sat on the carpet under the green exit sign and counted until the anger cooled. He kept going. He scavenged a fuse holder from a broken thunderstorm diorama. He polished bearings until the metal sang a thin, clean note. He wrote numbers in an old notebook where lamp, temperatures shared, margins with grocery lists. When he left, it was always dark and chemical, like rain that hadn't decided to fall. Gala night arrived with velvet and perfume. The modern projector ran smooth, until it didn't. At the first stutter, staff tightened their headsets. At the blue screen, the room broke into little committees of blame. The director hissed into a mic. AV was stuck in the freight elevator with a cart of desserts. He climbed the steps to the stage and crouched by the antique machine. A young volunteer in a tuxedo, 2 sizes too big, approached, flustered. "Sir, this is off limits." 2 minutes, the man said, opening the panel. His hands moved on memory. Lamp alignment, fan speed, tension on the belt. He had learned to hear what the machine asked for. The director's heels clicked toward him. "Not tonight," she said. "We cannot experiment." "It's not an experiment," he said. "It's a lamp and gears." He didn't look up. He threw the main. The switch made a small, decisive sound. The dome didn't explode into stars. It inhaled them. 1 pinprick, then a scatter, then a drift like early snow. Conversations thinned. Phones dropped. People tipped their chins back without meaning to. He eased the horizon with the hand crank, walking it toward true. The false night settled over the room in a clean arc. He had set it to the city's sky on the evening the blackout stole the light and strangers stood in the street pointing, forgetting to be strangers for 5 minutes. A child somewhere whispered, "Look." No one shushed. It wasn't that kind of sound. He flipped a lever and the meteor wheel began, tiny needles stitching the dark. Gasps, then a hush so complete it felt like cloth. The projector wanted more air. He gave it more. The bearing sang. He eased his touch until the tone softened. He didn't narrate. He didn't bow. He let mechanics and light do what they know. When he stopped the stars, nobody clapped. Silence held for a count of 5, as if the room was afraid to break the surface. Then the world reassembled itself. Throats cleared. A laugh broke. Someone cried like they hadn't planned to. The director stared at him without her armor. "Who are you?" she asked, voice small in the new quiet. "Maintenance," he said. He shut the machine down, the dome sliding back to ordinary. "There's a spill near row H." He left by the side stairs and picked up his mop. He wiped up the syrupy patch under the seats. He circled the lobby and stacked abandoned programs. He set a lipstick-smudged glass by the sink and ran water until the stain let go. Work as a way to steady your hands. The gala spilled out in glittering pieces. People spoke softly. Some were kind as they passed. A hand to the heart, a nod that wanted to be more. He kept moving. Later, the dome was empty, but for the faint tick of cooling metal. He went back up, because habits have their own gravity. The antique waited, black and patient. He touched the casing with the back of his fingers. The machine had earned thanks. A small white card lay on the console. "Open," it said in neat ink. Inside was a badge with his photo. Under his name, a new line. Planetarium technician. A sticky note in the same hand. "We keep what we steward. Start tomorrow. Also, about that fern." He stood very still, the badge shining like a quiet joke. He slid it into his pocket and turned off the work light. The room dimmed to the soft green of exit signs. On his way out, the mop bucket sloshed and caught the light. For a second, the water broke into dots, little green stars skittering across the surface. He set a hand to the rim to still them and just watched. The night underneath the plastic sheen. The night he could make and unmake with switches and gears, breathed back at him. He remembered the night he first fell in love with ceilings that pretend to be infinity. He was a kid then, lean with hunger for names. He learned them all, the old patterns and the new ones we pretend are old. He learned how long it takes a photon to leave a star and find an eye. He learned what it feels like to be necessary to a thing you can't own. He turned the badge over in his palm until his nerves stopped buzzing. He imagined telling someone. There was no one. He imagined coming in tomorrow and making a list. Belts to replace. Filters to clean. A cabinet for the tools that always migrated. He imagined the first school group to sit under the dome and tilt up their faces. He wheeled the bucket through the lobby. The fern by the window was drooping, container too small for its roots. He knelt and slid a hand under the pot, testing the weight. Soil dry. He looked around for a watering can, found none and shrugged. He tipped the mop bucket carefully and gave the fern a drink. The water's surface glittered once more, then calmed. Outside, the city breathed the tired air of late night. He stepped onto the sidewalk and felt the cool on his cheeks. Above the real skyline, clouds moved, hiding whatever the dome had shown so perfectly. He smiled anyway. He had given the room a sky. The room had taken a breath and remembered how to be quiet. That was enough. He touched the badge in his pocket. It was small. It was heavy. He walked home under streetlights that made their own little constellations. And he did not look down.